Alright everybody, here we have an iPhone 6 that will not charge despite being plugged in. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the charger. And be sure to power off the phone before proceeding to the next step. There are two pentalobe screws at the bottom of your device. On either side of the charging port, this requires a specific pentalobe screwdriver. Many kits will often include these, but it's important to check beforehand. It's easier to remove the screen from the frame if you use a suction cup, and then take a pick, and then just try to get some separation between the screen and the frame. Be gentle though, depending on the device. There might be ribbon cables that can be damaged. When you lift up the screen, do not extend the screen past 90 degrees. This can pull on these ribbon cables that attach the screen to the phone and damage them. Remove the two screws that hold down the battery bracket. Use a plastic pry tool to disconnect the ribbon cable for the battery. Always disconnect the battery before moving on to other electrical components. This mitigates the risk to the electrical components as we continue to work because the power supply has been removed. This device is missing two screws, but there should be 5 screws that hold down the 4 ribbon cables that attach to the screen. These 5 screws, among many other screws that we'll be encountering today, are of varying sizes. Be sure to write down which screws go where, because putting in the wrong length screw can damage the motherboard later. Remove these 4 ribbon cables and your screen will be detached. Put the screen to the side for safekeeping. Next, let's go ahead and remove this ribbon cable for the charging port assembly. Gently disconnect the speaker wire cable and remove the wire from the bracket. There are 4 screws that hold the speaker into the frame of the phone. Remove these and then take out the speaker. We will now remove the vibration motor. This is held in by 2 screws. Take note that there is a small hole in the top left of the vibration motor bracket. This lines up with the tab on the frame. This will assist us later when reinstalling the vibration motor. There are 6 screws surrounding the charging port that we will be removing. There are 2 at the top that have its own bracket. There are 2 on either side of the charging port in the middle, and 2 along the bottom on the frame of the phone. There's a rubber bracket that holds the microphone in place. Let's go ahead and remove that one screw that holds it in place and get it out of the way. The remaining 2 screws are for the headphone jack. Unscrew those and place them to the side. Now gently peel the ribbon tape from the frame. Start at the top and work your way down. The majority of the charging port assembly should now be loose. However, the microphone and the headphone jack are still attached. The microphone has adhesive under it attaching it to the frame. Gently push off from where it's attached to the frame to disconnect it. And there you have it. There's your old charging port assembly. I can't speak to all aftermarket charging port assemblies, but the one I purchased has adhesive backing. The assembly I purchased did not come with a spacer for the microphone. If this should happen, detach the spacer and reattach it to your new assembly. There is also a small gasket on the headphone jack that can be moved over to the new assembly if not provided. As you install the new assembly, the bottom of the microphone spacer should be seated on the bottom of the frame, not the back. Once everything is lined up, go ahead and put those two headphone jack screws back in. Reinstall the rubber spacer above the microphone with the flat side flush against the microphone. Install that screw and then move on to the bottom 4 charging port screws. Now remove the adhesive backing to your ribbon cable and lay it down in the correct position on the frame. Take your time to make sure that it is positioned correctly. Now install the charging port bracket with its 2 screws. Now we have the vibration motor. Recall that we have a small hole at the top left of the vibration motor bracket. Be sure to line this up with the small tab on the frame. Now we will reinstall the speaker. There's a tab at the top left of the speaker. Install the speaker by sliding this in first. The rest of the speaker should fall into place once that's lined up. Now that it's in position, install the 4 screws into the frame. Remove the adhesive backing and install the ribbon cable connector. You should hear a resounding click. Gently reinsert the speaker wire back into its bracket and install the speaker wire connector. This may take a few times as it's rather small. As you can see, my charging port connector popped loose. This can happen if the connection is not secure. We will now reattach the screen. There are 4 ribbon cables. Start your way from the top and work your way down, shortest to longest. Return the screen bracket to its correct position and install the 5 screws. Now connect the battery cable. Install the battery bracket with 2 screws. Now let's reconnect the screen to the frame. Start at the top and work your way down to the bottom. Be gentle throughout this process as to not damage the screen. We will now reinstall the 2 pentalobe screws. Let's plug in this device. And there you have it. Thank you for watching.